roughly, typically, if somebody wants to rent out a property in East Legon, 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom, what is the range that they would expect to pay?
So East Legon, it's 1 bedrooms. I think the range which should start from 1,100 to about 1,300.
This is for furnished, right?
Fully furnished.
Yep.
2 beds should start from about maybe 1,500 to about 1,800 at most.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Lorraine, and on this channel you find out everything you need to know about getting started in Ghana's real estate market, especially if you're from the diaspora. And today I am having a sit-down interview with somebody who is well experienced when it comes to building projects in Ghana, as well as investing in projects in Ghana and managing them and everything in between, pretty much. So I am excited to get started into today's conversation, which we're going to be really diving into what it takes to start a development in Ghana. How much does it cost? What are the challenges? What things you need to look out for, etc., etc. So if you're interested in finding out how you can get started in developing projects in Ghana, then do stick around. If you are new to this channel, then please do give this channel a subscribe. If you are coming back, I hope you've hit on the notification bell. And also do give today's video a big thumbs up and a like if you find it valuable and useful. And aside from that, do drop in the comments below. Let me know something new that you've learned, something that you didn't know before, or have a question for our guest today. Put it in the comments and we'll make sure that he does see that. So without further ado, let's get into it. So hey guys, so we are back with Mr. Maurice of IVI Properties. I'm excited because, well, previous conversation, we really dived into things around how investors from the diaspora can get started. Mm-hmm. We saw your very colourful background and how you got started in real estate in Ghana, and just, you know, the key things that people need to look out for when getting started in buying property in Ghana. Mm-hmm. But today I want us to kind of flip that on its head and talk a little bit about building in Ghana, especially developments and people that are going to be building for the purpose of selling off, or, you know, whatever it may be, whatever reasons they have. So firstly, thank you very much for joining me again. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate that for having me again. It was we enjoyed the last conversation, so I'm glad we could do it again. Indeed,
thank you. But I have a very important question for you. Are you team build or your team buy?
That's a tough question. There's no real answer to that, and I'll tell you what. You buy when you don't have time to build.
Okay.
That's simply, and then you build when you feel as if this is something you want to make very personal and for yourself, and put your personal touches, so there's no real easy answer for that. Again, it's just based on the circle, because some people honestly just can't stand the building process because it's long.
Headache, and having the trusted artisans, knowing the trusted people,
and also the price fluctuations when it comes to the different inputs that you end up needing. So
yes, we're going to get into that. You know, what is your experience been like when it comes to developing projects in Ghana?
When it comes to development in Ghana, developing properties in Ghana, it's like I said, everywhere in the world is expensive, unfortunately. But you need to understand that the structures that we have in this country, unfortunately, are not as rigorous as other places. So certain things you have to keep your head on a swivel, just because, especially when it comes to things like land acquisition, getting permits, just the overall process. Even when it comes to your workers and people that you have underneath you. That whole process, you need to be very diligent, or else, unfortunately, you end up hemorrhaging a lot of unnecessary money. So it's diligence and working with very good people that you can trust. That's the first most important step. When it comes to land, getting a land acquisition, yes. Do go as far as you possibly can when it comes to getting a land title. Make sure you do your searches. because you don't want to go through that process. I'm sure, yeah, you already
Headache.
know. Yeah, it's absolutely, yeah. It's you want to make sure that the property that you're working on or you're about to start working on is actually yours, and it hasn't been sold multiple times. Also, do as much due diligence as you can on the person who you're doing business with. I heard some time ago that people bought properties, land via WhatsApp group, like, and then obviously the deal fell through.
Yeah.
But who are you going to blame but yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's that's
a lot of things to look out for.
yeah.
But how did you get started when it comes to developing, when it comes to building projects in Ghana?
Like I said, it stems back to the creative element. I've always enjoyed the whole process of putting A and B and making and turning to C. It's so from down to even drawing. So I always say that in my previous life I probably was an architect, but I never really took it too seriously. But I've always enjoyed the process of building. I've enjoyed the overall being able to put together elements and you create and you manifest something beautiful because of the fact that you can think about it. So I've enjoyed it. And also when it comes to the mixture of materials too as well, and even lighting. That's because the setting things that put around. It's not every type of light. The lighting guy for different rooms, all those little elements make a huge impact to development. So it's something I've generally enjoyed.
Okay. So when it comes to developments in Ghana, we see a lot of things popping up all the time.
Yes.
You can go away from Ghana for 6 months to a year. You come back and there is
like maybe 6 or 7 or even 10
new developments.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But talk me through the process. If somebody's got some money, and they might not even have money. They might have land and they might go in with a JV, for example, right? And you tend to find in Ghana a lot of people that have land. They might say, okay, either I want to sell it or I want to go for a JV. I want to find a developer that's got the money, want to build on it.
Which is fun, 100%, because if anything, you're releasing equity from the property and then you're exiting by 3 or 4.
Let's talk about that process actually. So when it comes to JVs, let's say somebody has some land, right? And a lot of the next generation where their parents have handed over land, so you tend to find a lot of people who have inherited land. What can they do with it?
Like I said, if a JV is an option that you're considering, find a developer who you've seen his or her track record, and you can feel as if this person is able to build, deliver, and manage. Most importantly, manage what he or she has built. Because I've seen too many units that have unfortunately the developer has built it and just completely forgot to move on to the next one. But the process is, like I said, you find a good developer, do your due diligence on the person. Then work out the kinks, and it has to make sense. So you also need to understand that this developer is taking a risk on that. It's an investment that he or she is taking. So do not go with some lofty expectations thinking that this is what you should expect, blah, 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 because it doesn't work like that, because the developer can put $2 million in a project and then and he or she will lose. You, on the other hand, yes, you have the assets, but ultimately your worst case, your best case scenario for you is selling your assets up. And it's a one-time sale and you chop the money and that's it. But this is something that you could end up using to end up getting recurring revenue from that same investment. So be patient with that whole process. Sometimes things could go wrong. Maybe there was an investor or maybe a backer that pulled out. So if you want to go down a route, take your time. It won't be 100% all the time, but it will go through properly.
So typically when it comes to JVs, joint ventures, for those people that are new to the language, you tend to find people would say, a developer comes on, they invest 2 million, and what they might end up doing is your remuneration will be maybe they'll keep 2 apartments for you, for example. So just talk me through typically what those deal structures normally look like when it comes to JVs. Okay, so
for example, you have land, one plot in East Legon for maybe 100 by 100 with a valuation of maybe $150,000, $200,000 for the land. So what the developer most probably will end up doing is, just by virtue of that, you see how many units he can put on that. So be it apartments, be it townhouses, whatnot. So let's say he puts 5 townhouses or 6 townhouses. He'll give you 3 or give you 2 townhouses, and then he can potentially give you a bit of cash on the side. Or some people will say, okay, I don't want cash, give me 3 townhouses. And then the developer would say, okay, cool. So then you end up using whatever liquidity that he has to put up those structures and gives you your units too as well. But I would say it's best to maximize your investments as possible because so vertical structures, i.e. apartments, would be your best bet because you could end up saying, okay, if he's going to build 15, I want 5.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, so at least just make your money go as far as you possibly can, or 3 or 4x your investment in it. And like I said, back to being patient because the reason I'm saying this because I unfortunately I know too many families who they're going through this process whereby they feel as if the developer is taking their time, but other things could be happening. I mean, but just if you're working with them, it's a partnership that you're working with. Unfortunately, partnerships, like even the marriages, like it go through issues at times. So just take your time.
Yeah, indeed. So when it comes to the process, right, of people that are, maybe they haven't gone down the JV route, maybe they've acquired the land, they now want to, they've maybe got external investment and they are, or self-financing. And they want to know, pricing. They'll normally get quantity surveying. They kind of figure out, what the development cost going to, or the material cost going to be, or the bills of quantity is going to look like per square meterage. Like, what typically would be the process? And if they go off to a quantity surveyor and the quantity surveyor said it's going to cost them $500 per square, like what things would raise alarm bells, and what would that process look like?
It depends on the price per square meter. Usually depends on the type of output that you wanted property you're building. So the more affordable units, I would say price per square meter is low. It can do $200 or even $300 per square meters, and it can go up to all. I've seen about $3,000 per square meter. $3,000
per square meter.
I've seen it before. It's unfortunate. It's a bit crazy.
Where? What? What are they building?
It's
a castle.
It's unfortunate. I've seen that before. That's the thing. So again, it all depends on what you're trying to build.
Okay.
The whole objective is you want to create an investment that makes sense for you financially, for you to build and for you to sell, and for somebody to invest into as well. So if it's too expensive, then it defeats the whole purpose. So get a QS. Then you start figuring out, okay, it's going to cost me XYZ to build this. What do I need to do this? Then you start working on your timeline. So you need to set up realistic timelines and first communicate with your, even if it's not your property, you're doing a JV with somebody else, communicate with your vendor that, okay, this is what the update is. And so have consistent meetings as you possibly can. Maybe you set up quarterly meetings or an email chain, or even to simplify a WhatsApp conversation. But don't leave anybody in the dark, because that's when people start feeling a bit uncomfortable.
So who are the people you need on your team when you're developing?
You need a good engineer. You need a site manager. You need an accountant. Most important, you need a very good accountant. You need good plumbing team, electricians. You need the whole setup to just make it make sense. Because again, every property has different requirements for it. Because again, some things that happen that you don't expect, and always be prepared for the unexpected to happen.
Okay, so unexpected. If you look at your experience, are there any things that you could point to that be like, whoa, I didn't see that situation coming?
Yeah. When we're the foundation for one of our properties that we're working on, we went down only to find out that basically the foundation, the rocks, it involved a lot more inputs because we had to fill it a bit more than we expected. So then that increased the cost. And this was a huge site. So all those things, it's unfortunately, that's the game that we're in right now.
How does somebody budget for those other?
You don't. Unfortunately, so you've got a miscellaneous budget, but unfortunately, that would end up wiping out anything that you need, because anything could happen. I mean, the workers could be taking toilets up the staircases, and the toilets could break. You just need to prepare for anything could happen. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so somebody getting started into development in Ghana, what's your number one, well, apart from having a contingency line and having the right team, what would be your advice to somebody getting started for the first time in Ghana when it comes to development?
Take your time. Don't. Some people, I've seen this before. People have actually listened to my advice. Don't come with a 100-unit block. Start with a simple, maybe like a 5 or 6 unit. Start small and just basically get your feet, your hands dirty, and just understand what the process is. Once you understand, so basically baptism through fire.
Yeah.
You need to just go through that process.
Experience is the best teacher in Ghana.
100%.
It's the best
There's
teacher.
nothing. There's no book. There's nothing that could. Everything I'm saying right now, unless you go through it, it means nothing to you. Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah. But you feel it exactly.
I feel it. Yeah. So when if somebody's coming to build a 4-5 bedroom, I mean, obviously we know it typically depends on the finishing, the outfit, etc.
And I think finishing ends up being more expensive than
crazy.
Yeah. So if you the structure is easy, anybody can do foundation and
flow
block work.
And lock it.
Yeah, it's simple. But the finishing obviously ends up making everything quite expensive. But you're saying, huh?
I mean, typically, what would that final cost look like, roughly? I know it's just a finger in the air and it's few and far between. But somebody starting out, they shouldn't really be spending more than X.
I mean, I don't think you should in terms of structural costs. You're probably looking at maybe 700,000 cities. Mm-hmm. I don't think you should go more for like a 4. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that shouldn't go past that. That's realistically what you're doing, and you can pace yourself. Yeah. Especially if this is your family home that you're trying to put together. You don't need to have that money in bulk. If you do, that's fantastic. But just take your time. 200,000 here, 100,000 here. Just take your time and buy the materials as and when. And work with somebody who you can trust and won't take your money.
And IVI Properties, best place to support with people that want to start development?
Yes. We can help you. We can help you look in the right direction. Mm-hmm. We can say, okay, depending on what your objectives are, we believe that we have the skill sets and experience enough to say, okay, no, this is where you should be looking to, because it's not everything that builds makes sense, unfortunately. Like I've seen people put up properties in extremely far locations and beautiful structures, but the truth is, unfortunately, it's the wrong place for the right build.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you wonder why you're not making the returns on your investment there. Is because unfortunately somebody told you, okay, this is what you could end up getting here, and it's always based on bad advice.
So it's location. So just to let our viewers know as well, just as we come to a close, I'm sure you've spoken a lot about some of the JVs you've done as well. Yeah. Are there some developments that people will know about that you've been involved in that people will be like, I know about that one?
So we did the JV. We did the Ivy in East Legon. That was fantastic. There's another one to North Legon, Thompson Drive, too as well. We've also assisted in a few other JVs, and that's a little bit. That's a bit.
But Ivy is one that a lot of people know about. Yeah. You know, a lot of the diaspora that come to Ghana. You know, there's like certain developments that you will stay at, and Ivy is one of those as well. You know,
so we're grateful for that. Yeah. It's been, and the good thing about that is that the investors in that property, they understood and they played a long game.
Okay.
So as opposed to the peaks and ups and downs, which is fine, they've been able to be consistent with their revenue for a long time, just because of the fact that they understood that the market it makes sense once you find that sweet spot that. Then once you have a guest in the property, he feels different. There's no need for me to go anywhere. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's ultimately what an investment is. Once you find that you're good.
Once you find it, you're good. So Maurice, thank you so much for just walking us through this, and just amazing to hear your experience. But you know, we're also in a really beautiful apartment as well, duplex style.
Yes.
And tell me more about this place.
Okay, so this is a one-bedroom apartment, one-bedroom duplex by Myla Homes. It's called Belrose. Strategic location in East Legon, but it's also nicely hidden, because you have proximity to almost all the convenience spaces that you need to go to, ANC Mall, all those bits and bobs, and also schools too as well.
Yes.
So if you want a place for bring your family, this is a fantastic property. They have large units. It's a 2-bedroom in here. So it's definitely a conversation that we can have. If you have any tenants, send them my way. I can put them in here.
So just tenants, or there's also rent?
I think it's sold out, completely sold out here.
It's sold out.
So they have another development in Laboni that we're doing, the Ruby.
Okay.
So Ruby, you'll see it, fantastic location too as well. So.
But actually, whilst we're on this point around, we're in East Legon, a prime location. Roughly, typically, if somebody wants to rent out a property in East Legon, 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom, what is the range that they would expect to pay? Obviously, we know that there are standards.
Yes.
We know there are, there's luxury, there is kind of like entry level, there, but just typically for somewhere that a diasporan person would feel comfortable being. Okay. What typically is the range they would expect to pay?
So East Legon, it's 1 bedrooms. I think the range which should start from 1,100 to about 1,300.
This is for furnished, right?
Fully furnished.
Yeah.
2 beds should start from about maybe 1,500 to about 1,800 at most. Okay. The reason being, this is East Legon. At the same time, too, if you end up overpricing East Legon, what happens to Jolu? What happens to Airport, Labori? Exactly. That's why I keep on talking about the price matrix. Yeah, it keeps on. So it ends up being too expensive for people to live in. So
it is. It's this domino effect.
Yes.
If East Legon goes up, Jolu goes up.
Yes.
Airport City.
Then who's gonna stay there?
You know what I mean? Everybody's just priced out. We'll all be staying in Kaswa.
Exactly. That's the point. So it's and if anything, you also need to be empathetic to the investors because they've been promised these returns on the investment. So obviously they're going to have a unit just sat there. They're paying service charge consistently too as well. So just like I said, be smart about the choices you make in your investments game.
Absolutely. We know the kind of prices that people are looking at, but could you support with people that are buying properties and they want to have a property manager, or they want to, where does IVI Properties come in to somebody who's maybe buying for investment purposes?
Okay, so we can advise in terms of what direction to look into, and also the lifeline, the shelf life you should, when it comes to holding onto the properties. So you should reach out to us on our Instagram or at the website www.iviproperties.com, Instagram IVI_properties. Or they can just you put this information and link in your bio. But we're always on standby to help people make advise decisions before they part with their hard-earned money.
Indeed, because it is you versus you, IVI, indeed. Yes. So, Maurice, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And it's just amazing to see all the work you're doing, not only in real estate, but through, encouraging the next generation as well, through some of the literacy drives you do with Lancaster University and other things you do. So, really appreciate the work that you're doing and giving back as well. And I'm sure we have not finished hearing about your brand and the work that you're doing.
Thank you. And I'm proud of you and proud of your journey too as well. You've done well.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So we see where I think I know where this is going to go with you. So I'm just waiting for that. Then I'll just clap.
Amen.
We saw this coming. Yeah.
Indeed, brilliant, Maurice. Thank you so much. Guys, we appreciate you staying around and watching this episode. And if you found it useful and valuable, please do give this video a thumbs up. Also give it a like and drop in the comments something new that you learned. I learned quite a lot, especially when it comes to the nuances of things you need to budget for as well, and those unexpected costs as well when it comes to developing. But if you're new to the channel, please do give it a subscribe. Please do give it a follow. Or just generally make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on my future videos. And until my next one, I'm Lorraine, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.